My name is Juniper Longstride, and I am an explorer. I have walked the glacial islands in the Sea of Wraiths, uncovered elven treasures in the deep woods, and discovered the smoking Spire Mountain in the western wilderness. My latest expedition takes me into the winter ranges, and I'm excited to have you by my side while we explore the frozen north.
Tell you a story of lands long forgotten, where giants once roamed. They were tall as the mountains. Their leader was Belkins, a flame were his eyes, and in conquest he led them to fortune and glory. His enemies pursued him, jealous of his power. His treasures denied them.
And hello, this should all now be working. Hello, welcome to Band of Badgers. I am Dave, your host for this session, and joining us as our Q&A guest this time is Nathan Beattie, the tech wizard and one of the co-founders of ARKENFORGE. Nathan, just a quick hello. How are you? How are you doing?
Yeah, not doing too badly yourself.
Yeah, we've just been talking for an hour, so it's really strange. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. We've just been
It's a very
hanging out.
natural discussion that we're having.
Yeah, exactly. And joining me, as always, is co-host Steve. Steve, I was going to say, Steve, if you have a question, just shout it out. But also, if you have a question and you're in the audience, our live Twitch chat, put it into live Twitch chat. Steve will see it, he'll fish it out, and we can ask Nathan that way, okay? Any question about anything you see, or just general stuff about software development, or background history, whatever you want to ask, just ask, okay? If you have a question now, ask it. It's easy. So, those of you who don't know who we are as Band of Badgers, we support writers, artists, designers, and creators across all of our shows from all around the world. For example, Nathan is in Australia.
Oh, the most locked down city in the world right now.
Indeed. And well, we're here in the UK, so he's actually in the future, kind of. It's already Saturday for him. It's Friday night for us. It's a weird time paradox thing, but I'm sure we'll get over it because at least we can now chat in real time. But if
No spoilers.
Exactly, yeah. Lottery numbers, please. If you have a role-playing game or a tabletop related product that you would like us to feature here, we can do things like we can do an unboxing video, we can do a live interview like what we're doing here, or maybe you have a Kickstarter that's kicking off soon. Whatever it is, all you have to do is get in touch and let us know, and we'll find some space where we can present that, play with it, you join us, whatever. Okay, all you got to do is get in touch, so please do. You can find all of our previous content on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/bandofbadgers. And please don't forget to subscribe because every little subscription does help. And I mention that because if you would like to support us, you can. In all the usual places, we have Twitch subs, Patreon, merchandise, and even an Amazon wishlist. So, I can breathe now. With that out of the way, Nathan, thank you very much, as I said, for joining us. Now, the first question is the big question. So the first question is, what is ARKENFORGE? For those who don't know, it is map making software or digital map making software. But why, how, when?
Of course. So we created ARKENFORGE back in 2017, I think it was. So back then, this was well before Foundry or anything like that. All we had was Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds to play games on. And back then we had like single-use software. So we had Sirenscape for all the audio. We had Dungeon Painter Studio for the maps. Yeah. We had, I think, Realmworks for the notes and whatnot. And yeah, we were sitting around the table and we realized, hey, we don't want to use 3 or 4 different types of software just to run our games. We wish that everything could all just be smushed together into one delightful package. So yeah, we started on ARKENFORGE. It was called Realmware at the time, but we had to change it, unfortunately, because we got a cease and desist from a big, scary American company. Our name was too similar. Yeah. So yeah, we did our Kickstarter, we called it ARKENFORGE, and yeah, we've essentially built this nice little platform where it's everything that a DM needs all in the one place. So it does mapping, it does audio and music, sound effects, it does all your campaign management, so your notes, all that sort of stuff as well. And yeah, it's designed to play on the table. So we're really focused on in-person, face-to-face play. We don't do any online stuff at the moment. But yeah, so you can set up a TV, you can put a player screen on it, and everyone can sit around the table and get a really immersive digital gaming experience.
Do you also include digital dice? Do you do fog of war? All the typical layers that we've come to kind of expect on a... We got into using TVs in our game. So Band of Badgers as a club, when we play at the mansion, way before lockdown, we had several TVs set up and we would do the same thing. But we would use pieces of black card and just kind of pull back the screen that way. I even used to use Photoshop. And then just make multiple layers across all the rooms. And they go, right, that's room 43 on my layer. Turn the layer off. That's the room. or that's the T junction, whatever it might be.
Yeah. So yeah, we do Fog of War, and you can have like just reveal as you go, or have tokens in there that'll actually show you what they're looking at. We don't do dice or initiative track or anything like that just yet, just because anything that can be done easily physically, we've sort of left it till later. So people can just roll their own dice and do all that sort of thing. So we don't need to worry about that too much. But yeah, definitely the Fog of War side of things, we 100% take care of for you.
And the player tokens, enemy tokens, you do include that.
Yeah, definitely.
You?
Yeah, you can do that. You can import any of your own tokens as well. So we support. I think we're the first platform to support animated content. So we do GIF, WebMs, MP4s, M4Vs. So if you have your animated maps or tokens, they'll all just come in and work flawlessly. And yeah, we try and give you as much options as we can give you for your tokens and stuff.
So is that somewhere where you focused on, because that animated portion of it, I've not seen that in a lot of other mapping software.
Yeah,
so
that was definitely one of our
that's
big
really
focuses.
something you've driven towards making ARKENFORGE stand out.
Yeah, that's it. So the animated stuff is definitely one of the biggest things that we do that no one else does. We give you a bunch of individual animated assets, but in our recent updates, we've also let you just click on any asset, and we've got a bunch of like pre-made animations that you can apply to them. And we're just going to be expanding on that in the future.
One of the things we saw in the pre-roll trailer was someone was circling the water, or like a lake or something, and once that's finished, it just generates movement over the layer, and that was really interesting to see. So you can add in. Can you have like that's water, and you can make it ripple, for example. Can you also add birds? So birds can fly like as if you've got like some depth, or clouds going across, that kind of thing. If you're
we don't have them ourselves, like we don't have those assets yet, but you can definitely import your own ones. So if you can get just like a picture of a sky, or like a video of a sky with clouds, we have chroma keying built into the software, so you can just erase out the sky and have the clouds going over and that sort of thing. So yeah, anything that we don't provide, anyone can just import in and do it themselves.
So because I know when we're talking in the green room, I'll call it in the green room, when we sat on Zoom before we go live, you said you had a background in AR and VR software, right? And then you went and started ARKENFORGE. So is that animation part of what you used to do in AR and VR? Is that something you had to learn?
That was definitely something I had to learn, because all the stuff we do in ARKENFORGE is purely 2D. And VR is a very 3D medium, so there's a little bit of difference there. But there are like a couple of projects in the past from like game jams and that sort of thing that I was able to use to sort of just rip some of that old code that I had and throw it in to let you do those 2D animations and stuff.
Is it harder to animate stuff in 2D than it is in 3D?
Luckily, I don't have to do any animations.
Oh, okay.
I just write the code and stuff. But, definitely when you get like the tiled animations that have to like actually repeat, I know that our artists just hate us whenever we ask them to do them. So it sounds like there's some difficulty there for sure.
Because one of the things we have, because we do a lot of stuff with Beadle and Grimm's, who make in their platinum boxes, they make some fantastic maps. What would be the best way? Like, would a user take a photo of that and then just install it into ARKENFORGE, or would it be better if they had the PDF directly from the publisher?
Or do you give it to your own Steve and ask him to draw it in a map software for you?
Well, that's what we used to do, but
honestly, ultimately it depends on what's easier for you, really. It's like if you've got a camera that's really high res and you can get that good photo, then by all means, like, do it that way. If you can get a high res PDF and just take the image out of that, then that works. If you really want to build your own map, you can do that. If you want to go really out of that, you can have the physical map there and just get a projector on top and just project anything else extra on it that you want, for example, and do it that way as well. So yeah, there's a lot of good options that you can do, especially when you're in person.
There's a nice bit of, I'm trying to work around using terrain, because I'm a big fan of using miniatures. So I like, and in the past we've also used dynamic dungeons, but it was a set. So there's there's a cave, boom. And it wasn't. I'm very kind of stuck in my ways, because I want it to reflect the adventure. So when the adventure has like Ghost of Saltmarsh, you go under the haunted mansion or the fake haunted mansion. Spoilers, sorry. You go down into the basement. There's the pirate cave, and it's a set shape. But using dynamic dungeons means okay, I have to use their cave, not this one. But this would allow me to create that as I wanted to with the sound effects, with some animation, with lighting effects, and also control the fog of war as well. There's definitely certain aspects of it which I really love the idea of. And some of your stuff, again, looking at the trailers, you've got it was specifically looking at the Cyberpunk trailer where you had like pre-built roads, so it had lights, lines on the roads, vehicles preloaded. So boom. So you don't even, there's an element of you don't even have to populate it. Here's like
exactly. Yeah, we found last year, I think it was, when we were doing our Towns and Cities pack, a lot of people really like those modular things that we put in, because before that we just gave you all the raw assets, and people would like play with them, and that take ages to build. But then we started doing these modular ones. So I think we had like pre-built castles and town shops and that sort of thing, and people just went nuts for that sort of stuff.
I guess that's
and we can see that as well.
Is that kind of similar to the dungeon tiles? You know that like Dungeons and Dragons had those cardboard dungeon tiles. And you know they're flip-sided, but you have some dungeon tiles, you have a corridor, you have some grass and some trees, and then you have smaller trees you put on top. So in effect, it's the same kind of thing. You said rather than you building each individual square, you're now saying here's a 6x6, boom, and then repeat it.
Yeah, essentially, I think we can see that sort of playing out on the far end with things like Dungeon Alchemist. Where you get that sort of procedural generation where people are just like, all right, I want a tavern, I want it to be this big, and then it just does the rest for you. So I think we're definitely moving into that space of like, people just want it to be easy enough to build. They don't want to build their exact map. They just want it to be like, these are the properties that I need this map to have. And so, those sort of modular things are handy for that.
That's nice. I noticed we've got a few questions coming in, Steve.
Yes, we have. So the first one was, is all the music you have in ARKENFORGE DMCA safe? And probably just need to explain that it's not just music you have. It is actually asset sound packs in it. So you've got, sounds of battle, you've got
atmosphere,
cries of werewolves and stuff like that.
So we've uploaded all our music to, there's like a bunch of different services that you can take it to that manage it all. So they should be DMCA safe. And if you do get a takedown notice, just let us know and we'll strike it and you'll be fine. Definitely some of the weird things we've found is we had a user get a DMCA strike on a thunderbolt sound effect. So they just had like a thunderstorm going in the background, and then it was like, nope, this has been flagged because this like thunderstorm sounds too similar to some existing thing. So that was a fun situation that we found.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard. How do you copyright weather? But I suppose someone has.
So I guess there's always going to be those sort of edge cases that we can't control, but anything that we do have power over, all the music we make fully in-house, so we have complete control over the rights to that. So they should be DMCA safe.
Then the second question was, what's the best advice you can give for new users who are not used to computer programs like ARKENFORGE? So we haven't spoken much about, I guess, how it works. Is there something you want to say about, the interfaces, how you create the map, or we can save that for the second half because I know you can do some screen sharing if you want. So maybe we want to bench that question for now and answer it later.
I'd say just for a new user, like we have a lot of tutorials that we've got there. So just go through as much of that as you can and definitely engage with the community, because we have a pretty solid Discord and Facebook group and whatnot of people who do use this all the time, and they've got their own tips and tricks and whatnot. So the more you engage with the community, the more advice you'll get, and the more easier you'll find it to use the toolkit.
And just to point out, we actually have we've got links in live chat taking you directly to ARKENFORGE, but there is a free trial download. It's a 28-day free download, so do go and check it out. It's definitely worth having a play. And as Nathan was saying, you've got various tutorials that you can check out, so do have a go.
And then the last one was, what's your favourite animated effect in ARKENFORGE?
Well, good question. For me, I'd say in the Sci-Fi Essentials pack, we have this really awesome rotating galaxy effect.
Right.
It just looks amazing. So I'll show that one off later.
Cool.
But it's really good.
I think that was also in the as one of those in the trailer. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
A very good element. Now you have other stuff going on as well. So, yes, ARKENFORGE is a map making tool for your TTRPG games. Connects it to the TV, but it's not just that. You're also now dabbling into pre-done modules, adventure modules that you've created yourselves in house.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a story, you have several levels and different locations. Mm-hmm. How is obviously the business is growing and you're trying to do more things for the audience that's there, but how is developing your own story different to just developing software to create other people to create their stories?
It's definitely a tough one because if we just give you the assets, anyone can find a use for them. But if we put out an actual story or adventure module, it's got to fit what people want, sort of thing. A lot of people won't probably care too much about the Vault of the Living Flame, for example, because it's not the sort of adventure they run. Whereas a campfire asset fits into pretty much anything. So yeah, with our first adventure we released, we partnered with Melbourne DM Publishing. So it's a group of DMs that we've got here in Melbourne. And yeah, they create this adventure and we sort of helped turn it into this full digital product that we've got. Yeah, we think definitely when it comes to the ARKENFORGE adventures, giving that high level of immersion is the important thing. And just being able to buy it and then just instantly install it and have it fully ready to play. You don't need to worry about building any maps or anything like that. It'll all just work.
Yeah. And can you edit them on the fly as well? Can people take those there's a lot of ice maps in there. Can people take those as a base and then go, right, I don't want the cave to be there. I want these and these monsters. Can I actually take it apart like a bit of a jigsaw?
Yeah, so a lot of them you can. There's some parts of it that are just static.
Yeah.
So a lot of the backgrounds can't be edited, for example. But yeah, you can build on top of them. There's parts you can take and edit and move around. Some parts need to be moved around for the adventure. You've got your torches or your runes and stuff that light up and all that sort of thing. But yeah, they give you a really good template. So if your players do something just completely left of field, you can adapt to it and change the map as you need to.
That's cool. You go on, Steve.
I was going to say, so when you've bought that module, does that unlock those assets as well? If you wanted to use that in the is it the cartographer module you call it?
That's a very good question. I think we haven't built too much custom for Vault of Living Flame. Most it's just the static backgrounds that we've added.
Right.
So yeah, I'm honestly not sure on that one. Definitely some of them you'll be able to use. I can guarantee there's at least a few assets in there that are usable because yeah, everything's in the self-contained pack and anything you can see on the map that you can move around, you'll have access to in Cartographer to place and do whatever you want with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the software itself, there's the cartographer module and then there's the asset packs that you can purchase. I know there's the full fantasy asset pack, there's a smaller fantasy asset pack and there's sci-fi asset pack. So it's not just software that only does fantasy, as we saw from trailers, it does sci-fi as well. How does that fit together? Can you use the cartographer's module without the asset packs, and the asset packs are giving you the sort of dungeon decoration that goes with it? How does that all work, and how does the licensing work?
Yeah, of course. So with our packs that we put out, anything that you make, any maps you make, you get a full commercial license for. So you can just take them out and do whatever you want with them. You just need to give attribution to ARKENFORGE. Just someone's map made with ARKENFORGE, and you're clear. Yeah, if you want, we have full import tools, as we said before. So if you don't like any of the assets or our art style, you can just import your own stuff. We've also got a really good third-party marketplace. So we've got a whole heap of other creators on there who make their own stuff, and you can buy their packs as well. So yeah, we try to make everything as open and customizable as possible, essentially.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the Vault of the Living Flame, which is the the leveling up, I think it's levels 2 to 5 adventure that you can adventure module as a whole. There's also a second adventure out, which was done by one of the ARKENFORGE team, which is Sean Sunday, who is also a friend of the Badgers from a while back, who's created a brand new story called The Hunger of First Speak. Now we have one of our own Badgers, who is Baron in the chat, whose real name is Nick. So, and for the very first time, to kind of prove how easy it is to use ARKENFORGE, to see how easy it is to use, to put it together with a story and adventure, Nick is going to DM or GM for the very first time using ARKENFORGE to a brand new group. And what Nick doesn't know is we're going to do it live. So
surprise.
He does now.
He does now, and that's coming in November. So yeah, I mean, how is it really? I mean, how is it really for someone new to ARKENFORGE to come in and pick it up? And Nick, pay a lot of attention to what he's going to say.
Yeah, so the adventure modules that we make, like our official first party ones and stuff, we try to make as easy as possible to just jump in. So all the maps are there. They've already got all the sound effects and everything built in. All your content links are there and the notes and everything. So we give you a nice thing of how you run the adventure. And that has all your links to things. Here's where chapter 1 is. And it all just flows through from there. Sean's adventure, I'm not sure how he's done it because he's built that on his own and then he's going to be upgrading it to the full ARKENFORGE experience afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a good trial run of how that's going to run. But yeah, definitely pre-built adventures will be super easy to run and we don't want any issues there at all. If you're building your own adventure from scratch, that's going to be a little bit more complicated depending on how much you want to put into your adventure. If you just want to make maps, it's going to be easier than building all ambiences and sound effects and throwing all that in as well. So essentially, it's as complicated as you want to make it, and your mileage will vary based on how in-depth you want to go. Like even if you just want to make maps, but you could make a really basic map, or you could spend 30 hours like arranging everything on every table in the tavern, for example. So, yeah.
So we have had another question in. I'll just jump in. Is there anyone you'd like to work with in developing digital versions of their physical games?
Yeah, definitely. So a big one for me is Chaosium and doing Call of Cthulhu stuff. So I was mentioning in the green room earlier that I ran Call of Cthulhu a couple of years ago just using our audio assets. And it built up the immersion so much that we had a couple of the players actually like freaking out in the room, which is how you know you're doing Call of Cthulhu right. So being able to take one of their like actual adventures, like the Mask of Nyarlathotep or whatever it is called, and just like turning that into a full digital thing, I think would be really cool to do.
Are you allowed to hint or tease any other publishers you may be working with, or is it all NDA?
There's no one that we're like officially working with at this point, but we do have go-aheads for Paizo, Savage Worlds, and non-Cthulhu Chaosium properties.
Cool. Fantastic.
But yeah, in the future, we don't know what we're doing first yet.
Yeah.
It'll probably be next year that we'll be able to come out with something, but we'll see what that is.
Cool. You mean, is that being released in 2022 or working on in 2022?
Hopefully being released in 2022.
Cool.
Yeah,
I will
we'll keep
hit
you
up
posted
somewhere.
there.
I'll look at my release list and see what's coming. That's fine. Okay. So what we wanted to do was also to get you to do a screen share.
Yep.
And then we can do a kind of a quick, well, I say quick tour. We got kind of half-hour space. So just kind of take us on a gentle tour of how you might create something, some of your favorite pieces. I had a question as well. What's the smallest element? You mentioned you can put like stuff on a table, so plates and goblets. But what's the smallest item in the library?
I think that'd probably be an inkwell.
Really?
So,
Blimey. Okay.
yeah. So, and because you can scale everything, like anything can become the smallest one. So when we're doing some quick map building, I'll show you just how small and finicky you can get with it. So I'm one of those people who loves their tables properly decorated.
Yeah.
So
there is a nice element. Again, with Beadle and Grimm's, there is a really nice element during Avernus, and it's in the it's in the pub of the pub where the ghost of the elf is singing. I can't remember his name. But upstairs, one of the tables is laid out for a party of players to sit around a table with a DM screen. It's just really nice.
Nice and
so
meta.
Little tiny detail. It's fantastic. Right. So what I'm going to do, you start sharing your screen. I'll swap the screens over this side. And hopefully, fingers crossed, technology should not let us down.
That's the dream.
He says. And it works! Look at that!
Hooray! We did it.
Brilliant.
All right. So this here is our launcher. So all your content packs and all your software is managed through there. But we're going to launch the toolkit, which we have launched up here. All right, and here's our fancy main menu. This is a nice map background that we've got. In that stream, you probably won't be able to see the main menu, which is on the left, but we've got all our mapping, audio, notes, and that sort of thing. But for this, I'm going to jump into first one of our cool maps that we've got. So we can see it all loading in here. Everything that you see has been individually placed. So the texture's been drawn out, like every barrel, every tree and whatnot is individually placed. So we can zoom all the way out and we can see sort of how big the map is. If you want to know how detailed you can make stuff, we can zoom all the way in.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And we can, if I just say that inkwell I was mentioning, it's going to load in a bunch of cyberpunk stuff. There we are. We've got you, and we can.
Okay. Yep.
Just if you want to like get that millimeter precision, you can go all out with it and place stuff exactly where you want. And you can see we've got some animated. Oh, sorry.
Is there a file size element to this? We saw when it was loading, you saw all the little kind of segments just kind of loading in. Is there a maximum or is it kind of literally unlimited?
So due to our layering system being, I think it's 16-bit, there's a soft limit of about 64,000 assets.
Wow, okay.
But in terms of map size, like we've had people make 1,000 to 2,000 square wide maps with no issue.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we try to give you as much potential space as possible. And there's some fun technical issues that come with that, but it's fun stuff to sort out.
Yeah.
And so you can see here, like our tree assets that we give you, we have some animated ones. So those leaves are actually there moving and stuff. We have our nice river here.
So it's got dynamic light as well. See shadows.
Yeah, it does. So if we want to say go to our time of day, we go from day to night. And as we move our torch around, we're going to see those shadows are updating in real time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty good. And the fun part, all of these things you can see here are ambient effects. So if we jump into our audio settings and chuck our ambience volume up, we can hear the birds going, we can hear the river and stuff.
We can always hear birds going because Steve has budgies. So normally the budgie is awake.
That's really good. That is really good.
Yeah, so you can see here the sort of fall off on it, which means as we move away, the river sound is going to like fade out. We can't hear that more, so we've got fully positional audio built in. And all of these can be custom set. So if we want to say move a river audio down to here, we can do that. All that sort of stuff.
That must sound amazing if you've got that, wired for a surround sound system.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I have a quick question. When you're playing in the moment and you're playing this in game, so your players are sitting around a table, they've got their TV, you've got your laptop. Is there a DM screen and a player's view?
There is, yeah. So it's a bit hard to show on screen because you need two screens for it. But we have, so if we go to our display settings here, you can add an extended screen. I've got a second screen plugged in on my computer here, and you can have either a player screen, which will be showing a player version of the map that does all your fog of war and stuff.
Yeah.
Or you have a GM extension screen, so all the windows of the toolkit you can drag onto a second screen and control everything from there as well, if you've got like a nice wide setup that you want to play with.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we activate that, I might do a second screen share later on. But okay, toggle our player view here. We can see we have this here, which moves around, and this will change what the players can see on the map. Then you can like resize it, do that kind of thing.
Oh, that's nice.
We can see as we move the player view.
Yeah.
Once the player view is active, the audio is based on the player location rather than the DM camera.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can move that stuff around and that'll all do its thing.
I mean, I've straight away gone into DM plotting mode. I was thinking, like, well, how do you do things like traps, like a typical spiked pit? With how do you manage that?
Yeah. So what we do is we say, I don't know if we have a spike pit in the essentials, but we'll see what we can get. We do. Oh yeah, we've got that'll do. We've got, say, this log trap, for example. We can, on our hand here, we can just say to hide it. And that means that it's no longer showing for the players, but I can see it here on my DM screen. If I hold down Alt, I get the hidden thing there. Then I just need to unhide it, and then that'll fade in and show up to the players. And they'll be like, oh, trap, what do I do now?
Wow.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff like that. We've got, what should we do next? So all this stuff's fully manipulatable. So if we get our river here, for example, we can change how it scrolls. So we can make it go really fast if they piss off a water elemental or something like that.
Yep.
Do all that. We have full, so we try to make all the assets that we give as customizable as possible. So you can do things like change the hue, the brightness, the saturation, do all that kind of thing. We have our, as we said before, the chroma key functions. So if we want, we can, say, cut out some of these colors, and then when they show up, it's a bit hard because it's the hue shift. Let's just reset here. Yeah, so now when we do our tolerance, you can see that parts of the river will fade in and out. So you can get some cool effects with that, and that also helps if you like import a token with a black background, as we so often find. You can just chroma key that out and you're good to go.
Yeah, and you can turn it red and turn your river into a river of lava.
Yeah, exactly. You can do all that sort of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice
we have.
So
we have our.
you've obviously got a map that's started here for a new user coming in. What's the starting point? Is it just you choose your canvas size, you're going in, you're choosing a background layer, and then placing assets from that point?
Yeah, so what we have here is just our new map thing. So we just put in a name. It's for Badger's map. So we set our grid settings. So we have square, hex, and ISO grids. Your markings, we'll just go for half because it looks good. And you set the grid color and the background color and just hit create. And you just get a blank canvas to work on. So from this point, we can go into our textures, grass. Let's click, and then we can just click and drag our grass on. Let's turn off fog of war, it's darkening everything. Yeah, so now we've got a nice bit of grass there. We can grab some walls. Let's just go for, say, brick. Start building. So yeah, we've tried to make it super easy to just pick up your assets and start using them.
Yeah, that is quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit of a learning curve to like once you learn the UI and stuff, but when you actually get it all figured out, it's nice and quick to just start building stuff and going for it.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, we can just go to our tables. Getting a lot of sci-fi content as well, but that's all good. Be down, scale it, do whatever you want with it, rotate it, etc.
I like the scaling feature. That's good.
Yeah, Yeah, we used to only have it scaling in like all axes at once, but then everyone was like, no, we want to scale it sideways and that sort of thing. So we had to chuck that in.
So let's say
Yeah.
you've drawn them walls and you decide you don't want the door where you've put it.
Mhm.
Can you cut the elements afterwards and
So-
re-manipulate them?
To an extent, you can. With our walls, for example, you can manipulate where the points are. So we can say,
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah, move things back a bit. Now we've got a nice big opening there. Or if you want to have like a nice sort of curved area, which won't say our opening to be there, but with a nice curve to it, you can do that as well. Straighten up a bit. There we are. Yeah, it's nice and customizable, I'd say. The tiles, terrain stuff, you've got to do a bit of work with. So I can say a polygon here. But, yeah, it's definitely on the speedier side, I'd say. Definitely faster than something like Campaign Cartographer or that kind of thing.
Yeah, that is quick. That is quick, and you're not just doing things at 90 degrees and square either.
Yeah.
You can get stuff off the axis
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
easily, and the scaling looks really simple.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like grab a handle and go for it. You can just chuck down a light source.
Yeah.
You can
Change the hue.
color picker here, for example.
You get a Philips Hue bulb
nice
in there.
red.
There you go.
So we do support web links, so you can, if you set up your API right to your Philips Hue light, you can just click a button and have your light change color.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
you can't see the UI for it just because it's off to the side, but yeah, we do have a thing that supports web links. So actually, I might be able.
So something for your home dungeon when you're playing in game, and then you go into everyone needs InVision. Everyone's got dark vision. You instantly lower the lights. Wow.
So yes, here's like a link to Google, for example, and we can double click on that, and obviously it comes up in the window here. But yeah, you can just do that and potentially fire off an API call to your Hue lights and have them work.
No, that is a nice touch. That is fourth wall breaking. That is.
Yeah, it is.
What did you do? I don't know. My barbarian did it. It wasn't me. You rolled a natural one and you killed the lights in the real world. Wow. So
crackling flame ambient sounds.
What have we called? We were playing Cthulhu, but now I think we've done it wrong. What have we summoned? So one of the things we saw in the pre-roll trailer as well was almost like an animated scene where you had lava flowing through. So then, like Steve said, we saw the river, nice blue, clean water river, and then could you have these kind of events where the players do this? You're on an island. It's an unexplored, deserted island filled with forest. We're thinking lost here, and then the volcano decides to erupt.
Oh yeah,
it could be the Canary Islands, but it's Tenerife all over again. And then, so would you kind of preset that up that the lava is going to flow? So when my players trigger this event, I can sit back and go, right, you did it, and now everyone just watches like a cutscene. Kind of like this is what's happening.
Yeah, so for example, you could either you'd have it as a separate map, so when the lava goes off, it loads the lava version of the map, or you just have the lava flow hidden from your players, and then when it activates, you just go around, you unhide the various lava bits as it goes. And then, you can just move the player screen to like control where that goes, for example.
Because Steve, I was just thinking about Dungeon Master. So Nathan, there's a UK and European company called the Ultimate Dungeon Master or the Ultimate Games Master.
Ultimate Games Master.
Yeah, we know them. They're great.
And they one of the bits that really blew my mind was this kind of cutscene element where because everyone's on their own tablet device, and the screen goes blank. It says, right, you're now entering the Goblin Cave, and the kind of text comes up and then goes back, and it's like, oh, it felt like I was part of a game, like a computer game or something like that. And can you have a kind of create your own cutscene where we've seen it in computer games, but can you do it in here where it says, okay, you've summoned this creature, it's now gonna hatch its way out of a volcano. You've summoned a living fire spirit, a fire elemental, and the screen shakes as the volcano rumbles. All of those kind of features, I think, would be so nice to
probably something like to that level of complexity. You'd probably want to build something previously and like sort of pre-render it and have it as a video. But things like the screen shake, you can just like grab the player screen and shake it, for example, and that'll shake on the TV.
Oh right, you can literally just do that.
So there's your screen shake.
That's a nice touch.
Yeah.
So that's the cameraman trick, and everyone says, "We need these special effects. The room has to shake." The cameraman just goes, "Look."
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
This is your rotating galaxy, isn't it?
This is my favorite effect in the toolkit.
Yeah.
That is nice. It's a really nice effect, actually.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, "Holy crap! This is something." Got the nice transparency to it and everything.
Yeah.
Everything you want in a good rotating galaxy.
Yes. And then you can change colour on that as well, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. So we can
change the hues.
grab our hue here.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Tint to the full colour if we want. Do that kind of stuff.
So just to point out to everyone, ARKENFORGE is not just fantasy. There's also quite a few sci-fi packs in there, and one of the new releases that you've got, Nathan, is Cyberpunk, I believe.
Yes, it is. So we've got a Cyberpunk map here, which comes with the Cyberpunk pack that you can buy. This is a nice nightclub scene that we've built.
That's good.
See here, we've got all our bars, dancing. We have our multi-level map. So if we go up to level 1, we get the roof and
it's the nightclub for Mass Effect.
Yeah,
with all the neon lights. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, so with that we can see we've got like an animated thing here. This is one that's just been animated in the toolkit itself. So if you want to say stop spinning, you do that. Turn rotate on or off. This is an example, some of our custom effects that you can just throw on things and have it work. And then that's like the mapping side of it. We've still got all the audio and notes and everything as well. So if we jump in, actually, we'll go from the side here. This is just our sort of sound effect palette, so you can sort of pre-arrange like different lists of sounds that you can have.
Yeah.
So we've got, say, a dog here. You get multiple sound effects on the same one, so you're not going to get the same one each time.
Yeah.
We have full hotkey support for everything, so any piece of content in the toolkit, you can say assign hotkey and then just hit anything on your keyboard. And so now when I hit that, you get the dog bark.
A question just popped up. Do you have happy dog sounds?
Oh, happy dog sounds. We might actually. Let's take a look.
You need some because if you have a canine companion.
Of course, it's very important.
I forgot to ask at the start. Actually, the software, is that an install on your local machine, or does it run off the net?
Oh, it's all fully local, so you install on your computer. Once you've logged in once, you can use it fully offline, so you don't need an internet connection at all. So if you want to go out into the middle of the woods and play some nice spooky stuff, you can do that without needing to take a router with you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Some of these are happy dogs. We have music. So one thing that our music does that you can't get anywhere else is, if I can find it, yeah. We give you the individual tracks. So I'm going to play Dark Castle, for example. So what's the load? So we can pull the organ out, the strings, the piano.
Nice.
So you can take the one song and use it in a bunch of different ways, just by Yeah.
Is that because that's music you've made yourselves, or is that just software you're able to pick out different tones?
So this is because we've made it ourselves. You can import the individual stems of each track and have them load in. So if you're a music creator and you want to do this as well, if you export the individual audio tracks, you can do the same thing.
So how many audio tracks like that do you have in ARKENFORGE?
We give you, I think it's 58
Wow.
in the Fantasy Essentials pack. So pretty much anything you'll ever need, we cover.
Battle music as well, or is it more just atmospherics and tense spookiness?
So here's the battle tracks that come with it.
That's
this kind of thing.
I do like a lot of drum work.
Yeah, well, if you want to do like that sort of just the barbarian sort of thing, you just get the drums going.
A few years ago, I ran. It was for Steve and some of my friends as well. I ran a kids game, and it was basically a zombie horde coming into a village, and there was a big storm. And what I did in the storm of like the thunder and lightning and crushing, I put a drum beat, and it was to see. It wasn't like a skill check. It was to see if the players, the kids, actually picked up on the drum beat, because that was like the enemies were flying in at that point on these big ships, and they were like dum, 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 dum. It was, I loved it. I loved doing things like that.
Yeah, well then you'll like this. So what we have here is our ambience player. So what we can do is, if we just want to create a new one, badges again, but spelled badly. So what we can do is we can build full ambience presets. So you can time a bunch of different sound effects together to make some cool stuff. So if we want to go into, say, what can we do? Let's do like a sword fight, for example. Sword impact. We have blades as well. Blade swoosh, some sheath, some clinging. So now we play all these. We can set our timing. So
nice.
Just start them again. Oh, I see what I did. I filled in the wrong field. That's not what you want to do. All right. Two. So now we've got all the things timed out, and now we can do all that stuff there. We can add some more effects. So if we wanted to, say, pan differently each time, now each sword impact's gonna either go left or right. So yeah, you can build up these full ambience things and just drop them in whenever you want. So once a sword fight happens, we can just throw this in, and now all the swords are clanging everywhere and doing their thing.
I have another quick question. Can you attach sounds like that to... Because, okay, so I've downloaded the software, which means I have both the artwork to create maps and the sound. If I just wanted sound, because I'm streaming, you know, a spooky dungeon, is that music safe for streaming?
It should be. Okay. So this sort of comes back into the DMCA or DCMA copyright issue. Yeah,
so if it's safe for streaming, it should also be safe for YouTube. But can I attach that to Stream Deck, the Elgato Stream Deck, so I can push a button? I can preset, and I can go right sword fight, boom.
So this is kind of something we're working on at the moment.
Cool.
Which is still in alpha. So we're making our own hotkey app, which rather than having to use your keyboard for hotkeys, you have an app, and then you just hit the button and it does whatever you code it to.
Fantastic.
But we use I think it's called OpenOSC protocol, which Stream Deck should use, I think. I can look into it for you.
Yeah.
But anything that connects through DAW software and that sort of thing should be able to interface with the toolkit natively.
That's really nice. I like that. That
so
could be
as of right now it doesn't, but in the future that's the plan.
I mean, because you can create your maps, you can animate them. Your friends are playing around the table on that, and you can just go, right, boom, you hear this noise, and it's just easier. You know, you've done that pre-prep. Boom, you hear the hear the wolf howl, and then you hear signs of combat.
Yeah, that's it. Or even if you just want to like have a map up for easy management, if we just like grab a sound effect, for example, if we go to our content library, we can just say grab that acid sizzle and just drag and drop it here. So now when we double click on this, it'll display. So yeah, we try to make it super easy to access your content. We have a bar on the right side, which you can't see on the stream, but you can drag anything onto there and it's just accessible, so you can click it whenever you need to. So yeah, you should be able to access any content you need whenever you need it, as long as you've done the pre-prep to set it up. And then yeah, once we get the hotkey app built as well, you can have your like nice big tablet there with all your custom buttons and everything that you've set up, like your own custom ARKENFORGE stream deck essentially.
That is nice. And what is so just to let everyone know in the chat, there is a 28-day free trial you can download right now on arkenforge.com/trial. Please go and check that out. If you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link below in the description, so go and have a look at that. Nathan, what is your current most coveted item in ARKENFORGE?
It's coveted item, as in like asset, or
yeah, whatever. What's your favorite piece? What's your favorite piece of this world-creating software that you've created?
Is a big question. Oh god, I don't know. I'd say probably the hotkey system actually is something I'm really happy and impressed with, just because of how well it works, and especially once hotkey apps out, being able to control the full thing from just my phone, I think is going to be really great.
Yeah.
So right now, that's my favorite thing.
What was the very
Whatever
first
we're
thing
working
you
on
created?
next is the best one. Well, the very first thing we ever created was an initiative tracker, just for tablet, which we tried out in our games, and then we still don't have one in the software, funnily enough. But yeah, that's the very first thing we ever built. The first thing we built that made it into the software was our first version of the soundscape module, so playing music and having our different tracks and stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty much been in there since day one.
When you mentioned initiative tracker, where we've been doing epic encounters, we've actually been using D&D Beyond for the first time.
Oh yeah,
their kind of alpha beta initiative tracker, and I do find it quite clunky. It just kind of doesn't do what I want it to do. So it would be really nice to have something that I can put, because when we play in person, I'm the person who uses the cards and I'll put them over the DM shield. I will just use that. But when we're playing online, I always have to say, right, Steve, it's your go, and then Nathan, you're next, and that's it. And then you wait another go, and then you're waiting to hear Steve get called out, so you can go, right, my plan is this. Then I would like something that I could put on screen, even if I'm around the table that took up like a vertical portion, just the sidebar of my TV screen the players are using, just so they could see it. I think it'd be really
absolutely
nice. Or I could
that's
drag
what we plan on
different
doing
corners
once we
or
get
something.
that.
Just, I could position it. I think
once we get it out, like we're very open to feedback. So if there's something that you need, we'll make it happen.
If you need playtesters, I'll happily playtest an initiative tracker. That'd be pretty cool. We've got another question that just came in. We are about to wrap up, but I'm not sure who the question was from. I think it was from Baron. How easy is it to put in your own sounds?
Oh, it's pretty easy. So we have a full custom import thing here. Just make it windowed so we can see it all. We just go import in either music or sound effects, hit import files, find a file. I don't know if I've actually got any available here. Let's just go. Anyway, you pick a file and then let's just do that. It imports in, and there it is. And now we can just hit play. It'll start going. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to do to get your audio in.
So is it any sound file that will play in Windows will work in the app?
So we support WAV and OGG. MP3 we don't, just because the engine never built it in, because a couple of years ago, MP3 was patented for Windows and OS X, unfortunately.
Right.
So yeah, we don't have MP3 support, but if you can convert it to OGG, that's what we'd recommend. And then you can just select a whole folder of music or sound effects and just bring them all in.
That's cool. That was very easy to do.
Yeah.
Does the asset importer work in the same way?
Yeah, exactly the same. So
and is there a certain image file that its preference is PNG?
So we take JPEGs, PNGs for images. Yep. We take MP4 and M4V for video, and we do GIF and WebM for animated.
Cool.
So yeah, we try to tackle as much as we can. WebP is hopefully coming in the future because that's becoming a lot more common now. But we don't have that one just yet.
Yeah.
And then if you use something like Dungeon Draft or Dungeon Fog, who do universal VTT file export, we support that as well. So you can import from there and it'll automatically have all your light blocking and your lighting and everything imported in with it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's clever.
So yeah, our goal is to try and integrate with as many people as possible. So we have export to UVTT, so you can export straight to Foundry. We have native export to Fantasy Grounds Unity, so it exports with the XML file to build all your barriers and lighting directly into Fantasy Grounds as well. And next year we'll be doing full module exports for both, so you'll be able to write your notes and everything in the toolkit and then export them to Fantasy Grounds modules or Foundry modules as well.
That's cool. I just noticed there's another question in chat which I missed earlier.
Oh yeah?
I'm not sure if Steve kind of touched on it, I think. But what's the next big thing that you're going to bring to ARKENFORGE? What is on the developers table for next year?
Next year, so we've got quite a bit planned. We've got as I said, the hotkey app coming. We have initiative tracking and fully custom dice rolling, so you'll be able to upload your own images for your dice faces, fully build them custom however you want.
Yeah.
Then hopefully by the end of next year, we'll be starting on the player toolkit. So anyone with a phone or a tablet will be able to connect in via local Wi-Fi and actually interact with the toolkit as their player. So they'll have a token in there, the DM can send them messages and they'll do all that sort of stuff. They can like access the party inventory and do all that sort of fun stuff. So we have a lot of fun plans for players when we get to that point. It'll be very good fun.
Cool.
Thank you. Right, we are going to start wrapping up in just a sec. Nathan, if you want to unshare your screen, I can move us all back to the previous scene. And it should work with a bit of magic. There we go. Fingers crossed. You've got to make sure these things work. Steve, did I miss any questions? I know you've kind of been keeping some copies there.
No, I'd missed the one about what do you really want to bring to ARKENFORGE? What was the next big thing? I captured everything else. Yeah, that was done, and the one previous to that was about the sounds, which I thought I'd ask, but I was on mute, so.
Good. Right.
I'm
So Steve. We will leave it there. Nathan, thank you very much for sparing the time to do this because we know you're busy.
Thanks for having me.
It was 6, 7, 8 a.m. now.
It is 8:06 a.m. right now.
There you go. In Australia. In the future.
See the sun's up now because I can see it in the background.
So. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us in Twitch. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe, but please do check out. We're putting the links below for the various things for the 28-day download. Do go and check it out. There's a lot of stuff coming. As Nathan's already said, there's tons and tons of stuff, of really cool stuff coming out next year. So it's always in continual development. Do check it out, have a play, and just I think the rest of the world is coming out of lockdown. I know Australia is still kind of locked down at the moment, but it's about getting back to your tables. While you're in lockdown, use this and then just blow your players away. That's what we want to do. Right. Actually, before we go, what's your next convention that you're going to be at?
Oh, good question. I think our next one will be GaryCon in the US.
Okay.
So that'll be, I think, end of March.
Yeah.
And then, we don't have too many conventions here in Australia at the moment because of lockdowns and stuff, unfortunately. But we might be in Canberra in December if you're at GammaCon.
Cool.
So fingers crossed we'll see you there if COVID doesn't ruin it.
That is true. We are holding on for as long as we can. Right. Alan's just said, "Hi, Alan. See you, Alan. We're going." You can watch it back on Twitch. Right. Nathan, Steve, we will see you both again soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Cheers,
Later.